السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه ثم ما بعد. We will continue our class in regards to the questions or the answers by Sheikh Muqbil bin Hadi al-Wad'i rahimahullah ta'ala on questions by the women. The book that is collected regarding answers from Sheikh Muqbil rahimahullah on questions asked by the women. And as usual, before we start, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we will take a few questions from the questions of the sisters. And during last week's class, I answered one question by one of the sisters. However, I did not fully answer the question, and I missed a few parts. So I owe it to the sister to go back and answer the question, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, more fully and more completely, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. The question was regarding the jilbab of the women, and what is it supposed to be like, what colors are allowed, what fabrics are allowed, and also she asked regarding covering the face. So in general, it was a general question regarding the hijab of the women and what is it supposed to be like. And we said, barakallahu fikum, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he commands his wives, his daughters, and the wives of the believers to cover themselves with their jilbab, to put their jilbab upon themselves, and that this is better so that they are known and they are not harmed. Meaning that they should they should wear a jilbab. The women should wear the jilbab, which is the outer garment, on top of their clothes, and it covers their hair, it covers the rest of their body. And of course, as was mentioned before, there is a disagreement regarding the face. There is a disagreement regarding the face, the hands, and the feet of the women. Are they a part of the awrah, or are they not? Are the women allowed to show their faces, their hands, and their feet, or are they not? And nevertheless, the strongest opinion is that the woman should cover herself completely, from head to toe, completely cover herself. So, by way of wearing a jilbab, an outer garment, as the people of knowledge, they said it could be one piece of clothes that is worn all the way from the head that covers the hair and the rest of the body, or it could be multiple pieces. As Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah was asked, does the jilbab have to be one piece? And he said no, there is no condition that it has to be one piece. And rather, it could be, for example, that a woman, she wears a covering on her head and then another piece, for example, and so on and so forth. So as long as she covers herself completely with an outer garment, and that outer garment, it has conditions. From them is that it cannot be a form of beauty within itself. It cannot be a form of an adornment. It cannot be, for example, decorated and being colorful and things like that, where it actually brings the attention of people, and it causes fitna. It causes a trial and tribulation. And rather, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated the jilbab and the hijab and the covering of the women in order to hide away their adornment and their beauty, not to increase it, not to show it, not for the outer garment to be a beauty within itself. This is one condition, that it cannot be, whether it is the fabric or the color, it cannot be a beauty by itself. Of course, here we should note that there is no specific color. Yes, the black color is the best color for the women because it hides away. It is not something that attracts the people in general, and it hides away their beauty, and it doesn't open the door for different colors and different things that become an adornment by themselves. However, it is not a condition. It is not a condition that she wears black. It is better, but it is not a condition. So, and there is no specific color. There is no specific fabric as well. There's no specific fabric. What is the condition? Is that it has to be thick enough that it is not, for example, see-through, that the people can see what is under it. And it has to be wide where it doesn't, it is not tight, that the people can see the shape of the woman and her, the details of her body. That all has to be hidden away. And this is why the hijab and the jilbab is legislated, to hide away the beauty and the adornment. And likewise, it cannot be a beauty within itself. So those are the conditions. It has to be wide, it has to be thick, it has to be not a beauty by itself, and it is worn, like we said, on top of the rest of the clothes, and it drags. And we do have two new questions regarding whether or not the feet has to be covered. So one question was, is it okay for our clothes if our clothes touches the ground as it's covering our feet? And the second question that we have also, does the hadith about clothes dragging out of vanity not refer to women as we're trying to cover our feet? So those two questions, they are related to the topic, and they are we can answer them and we can put them as part of this description. So as we said, the jilbab, the stronger opinion is that the feet has to be covered. This is a stronger opinion. As Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah mentioned, and he explained that there is a difference of opinion in regards to the face, in regards to the hands, and in regards to the feet, whether or not they have to be covered. Most of the people of knowledge, they say that the feet have to be covered. And some of the people of knowledge say that it is okay for the woman to show her feet. And likewise, the face and the hands. There is a difference of opinion in regards to this matter. However, the strongest opinion is that the women, all of their body is awra, is something that should be hidden away from men who are not from their unmarriable kin, or of course their husbands. So by way of them being awra, they should be hidden away. Now in regards to the clothes dragging on the floor, and is it okay if it touches the floor? Does the hadith about clothes dragging out of vanity not refer to women? al-Sheikh, if I'm not mistaken, Sheikh Muhammad Bazmul, hafidhahullah, or other than him, he was asked specifically this question: does the forbidding of the clothes dragging on the floor, on the ground, does it not include the women? And he said, no, this is for the men only. Meaning that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he first of all, we should know that for the men there are two rulings. One of them is if one's clothes are beyond or under the ankles, that is impermissible. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned that what is under the ankles is in the fire, meaning from the body parts where the garments go beyond or under the ankle, then that is in the fire. And when it comes to, there is another ruling that if the person drags his clothes or his clothes are under his ankles out of arrogance and out of boasting off, then that has a different ruling, and that it becomes one of the major sins. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned a great warning regarding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not speak to him and will not look at him, and to him is a severe punishment. So he will be it is a form of humiliation, that the person who drags his clothes out of arrogance and out of boasting off, that he is this is a warning of a punishment, that he will be humiliated on the day of judgment. We seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those rulings are regarding the men, are for the men. As for the women, what came regarding the women is a few things. One of them is that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned, and he said that the thawb, the garment of the Muslim, is to the middle of the calf, or the shin, to the middle of the calf, which is the lower part of the leg. And he was asked, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what do the women do in regards to that? What do the women do in regards to that? And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said they should extend it a hand span. Yani, barakallahu fikum, yani this is the hand, and it is the span from the thumb to the pinky finger. He said they extend it this much. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was asked, then their feet will show. And then the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, then an arm's span, an arm's length, and they should not extend it more than that. an arm's length, and they should not extend it more than that. The people of knowledge, they say the arm's length is from the tips of the fingers all the way to the elbow. This is the arm's length. Now, there is also a difference of opinion between the people of knowledge in regards to where does it start from. Does it start from the ankles, or does it start from the bottom of the feet, or does it start from the calf? And pay attention here that there is no safe, some people say, no, be on the safe side and start from the ankles. There is no being on the safe side from this perspective. Why? Because the Messenger ﷺ, he said they should not extend it more. So pay attention to this. You're not being on the safe side if you extend it an arm's length from the bottom of the feet or from the ankles, if it is impermissible to actually extend it more than what is specific. So we should understand that there is no being on the safe side in regards to this. And rather, one should look at the evidences and try to understand them accordingly. The strongest opinion in regards to this, and like I said, this is a matter of difference of opinion between the people of knowledge. However, the strongest opinion is that it starts from the middle of the calf. And I heard our Sheikh Abdurrahman al-Maysan, hafidhahullah, was asked specifically regarding this and regarding the women dragging their clothes, especially in weddings. Either he was asked or he mentioned it as part of an explanation. I think he mentioned it as part of a lecture. He was warning against some of the mistakes that happen during weddings. And from them, he mentioned, of course, the known wedding gown that drags on the floor. And he said that the women, what they are permitted to extend their clothes, a handspan or an arm's length, that starts from the middle of the calf. He mentioned that, hafidhahullah. And other than him, from the people of knowledge, this is their opinion in regards to this matter. And so from that, and this, wallahu alam, is the strongest opinion. And also the text of the hadith actually show this. Meaning that, and if one was to think and ponder upon the actual text of the hadith, he will find that this is a stronger opinion. Why? Because the Messenger ﷺ, he mentioned that the izar, or the thawb, the garment of the Muslim, is to the middle of the calf. And he ﷺ, he was asked, what do the women do? Meaning that to the middle of the calf, that is short for the women, and this is not proper for the women. So the Messenger ﷺ, he said they extend it by a handspan. And so the Messenger ﷺ, who was asked again, like we said, then their feet will show. Meaning that some women, if they were to extend their garment a handspan, of course, people have different heights. So some people who are taller, their feet, a handspan from the middle of the calf would not cover their feet. And for example, it ends up being to the ankle or less or more or somewhere about that. So he was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was asked, then their feet will show. And from this we collect that the people, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, the companions, the female companions, of course they did not want to expose themselves and expose their feet. And also from this we collect that they understood that the feet should not show. From this they understood that the feet should not show, and that rather they should be hidden. And so the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said if this is the case, he permitted them and he gave them the rukhsa, the ease, that they are allowed to extend it a full arm's length from the middle of the calf, and they cannot extend it more. So inshallah, by way of understanding those different hadith, we come to understand and know how tall the women's jilbab or cover or what we have today from the abayat, and other than that, their outer garment, how tall or how long is it supposed to be, how much is it supposed to drag. So a woman is not allowed to walk and drag her garment behind her a long distance, a long that it is dragging a foot or two behind her. No, there is specific amount that she is allowed to, as long as she properly covers herself. So this is in regards to the two questions now. Making sure, inshallah, trying to make sure that we're covering all of those questions. Now, another question that came from one of the sisters is, what's the ruling of reciting aloud in prayer, while alone or while leading prayer with female jama'ah? So the people of knowledge, they say that the woman, if she is praying by herself, or she is praying in congregation, and the prayer is one of those prayers that the Quran or that are recited loudly, such as Salat al-Fajr or Maghrib or Isha, then in this case, she should raise her voice. She should recite with, she should raise her voice, because those prayers are recited loudly. And therefore, it is permissible and it is legislated for her to raise her voice, even if she is praying alone. With the exception, if men can hear her, men who are not her mahram, men who are not, not her marriable kin or her husband, then in general the women are commanded to lower their voices and not to be heard by the men unless there is a need. And in this case, of course, it is not a need. It is not a necessity. So if she can be heard by men who are not her mahram, then she should lower her voice and not raise her voice in the prayer. Just like, as is known, that the women do not raise their voices in takbirat, in Eid, and likewise in talbiyah, when performing hajj, that they do not raise their voices. They are commanded to lower their voice in the presence of men, unless there is a necessity that they speak to the men. That is allowed. When there is a necessity, a woman is allowed to speak to men. But in general, especially with the recitation of the Quran, that the person in general beautifies his voice and recites with tajweed and with tartil, and other than that, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. So the person recites with tartil and with beautifying one's voice, and the women are supposed to hide away their beauty, and from that is their voice. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commanded the women that they do not soften their speech when they speak to men. Wallahu alam. Now we go back to the book. There are more questions, but inshallah we will postpone them to next class, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And we will move back to the class, or to our book, which we are reading. So one woman, she asked al-Sheikh rahimahullah, she said, هل يجوز للمرأة أن تذهب إلى مجلس علم أو درس? Is it permissible for a woman to go to a gathering of knowledge or to a class بدون إذن زوجها, without permission from her husband, مع العلم بأنه لا يريدها أن تذهب إلى مجالس العلم, although she does not want her to go to the gatherings of knowledge, وبحيث أنها لو ذهبت إلى مجلس لهو أو نحوه بغير إذنه ما أنكر عليها. However, if she leaves to a gathering other than the gatherings of knowledge, such as general gatherings of the women or the likes, then he has no problem with it. So this husband, from the question, he permits her to leave. He doesn't have a problem with her leaving. However, he does not want her to go specifically to the gatherings of knowledge, to the sittings of knowledge, to go and seek knowledge. So al-Sheikh rahimahullah, and of course we should understand and know that the previous question, if I'm not mistaken, the previous question, al-Sheikh rahimahullah was asked, just as a review, that he was asked, is there a problem with a woman leaving without a mahram to attend gatherings of knowledge and the likes? And Sheikh Muqbil rahimahullah, he said, if she is not traveling and her husband permits her. So this is, he mentioned those conditions. So of course, if she's traveling, she needs a mahram. As is known, she needs a male relative of hers, unmarriable relative, or her husband to take her if she's traveling. So if she's not traveling and her husband allows her and permits her, then she can go and attend the gatherings of knowledge. So he mentioned that second condition, that her husband allows her. Now, in this case, as we mentioned, in this case, the sister is asking that her husband, he doesn't have a problem with her leaving and going. What he has a problem with is with her going to the gatherings of knowledge, to sit and seek knowledge and to go to the gatherings of knowledge. Al-Sheikh rahimahullah, he said, يخشى أن يعلم وتحدث فتنة بينهما. He said what one is worried about is that he comes to know, so he allows her to leave, but he doesn't want her to go to the gatherings of knowledge. He said that it could cause a problem between them. قال أما إذا كانت قوية الإيمان وهي آمنة على نفسها من الفتنة وأن تفتن غيرها فلها أن تحضر حلقات العلم. He said, if she knows that she is strong in Iman and she feels safe in regards to herself from the trials and tribulations, then she is allowed to go and sit and attend the gatherings of knowledge. قال وهكذا أيضا المحاضرات التي لأهل السنة, and likewise to benefit from the lectures of أهل السنة. قال أما حلقات العلم من الحزبين, يعني هنا here we should point out that what Sheikh Muqbil rahimahullah is mentioning and is saying is that some husbands, may Allah guide us and them, that some husbands, they do not want their wives to study, to seek knowledge and to learn. So the problem is not with going, that she goes, but their problem is with her benefiting and sitting and seeking knowledge. In this case, she does not have to obey her husband, and rather she should learn her religion, especially as Sheikh Muqbil rahimahullah mentioned we mentioned in previous classes, the pillars of Iman and the pillars of Islam. A person is asked about these things. So a woman should learn these things even if her husband does not permit her to, because the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned that seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim, and so it is an obligation upon her. So if she obeys her husband by not seeking knowledge, she would be disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As is known that there is no obedience to the creation and the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال الشيخ رحمه الله أما حلقات العلم من الحزبيين. Now here the Shaykh rahimahullah, of course, he was wise and he was a scholar, that he mentioned in both cases. So perhaps her husband does not want her to go, because if she was to go and sit and study, she was going to go to the Hizbiyin, to the people of partisanship, to the people of innovation, the people of misguidance. He rahimahullah, he said, أما حلقات العلم من الحزبيين أو محاضرات الحزبيين فهذه بلاء. He said, as for the lectures and the gatherings of knowledge of the Hizbiyin, of people of partisanship and the people of innovation, then this is a trial. This is a great deal of trial and tribulation. وفتنة ننصح بعدم حضورها. We advise the women, or we advise in general, that no one sits sits in them and attends them. وليس له طاعة وممكن أن تقول له علمني في بيتي فإذا لم يفعل فلها أن تخرج. يعني he rahimahullah, like we said, so those are two different subjects that he mentioned. We will come back to the point that he mentioned before, but here he said, she does not obey him, as we said, in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it is permissible for her, or it is legislated for her to say to him, teach me. You don't want me to go to seek knowledge, then teach me. And if he does not teach her, and she doesn't have a means, meaning to study at home, then she should go and attend attend the classes. Of course, alhamdulillah, but with the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nowadays seeking knowledge does not require the person to actually leave the house. And this is from the great bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. So if a woman's husband does not want her to go specifically to seek knowledge, then she, alhamdulillah, she can seek knowledge at home. She can listen to classes and lectures. With the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are available easily. However, with the condition that he mentioned earlier, that one does not listen to the people of innovation and the people of partisanship and the people of bid'ah, because they're what they give, the people of innovation, what they teach and what they give, it is as if one is presenting a beautiful plate of food that looks beautiful, and it is very presentable, but then it has poison in it. This is the way of the people of innovation. So beware of them. Beware of the people of partisanship, regardless of what their names are, because what is important is to understand their description, not their names, because they come in different names. You hear beautiful names that they name themselves. Al-Ikhwan al-Muslimun, the Muslim Brotherhood. Da'wat al-Tabligh, the people of Tabligh and Da'wah, calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And other than this, they call themselves, for example, they call themselves with beautiful names, Sufis, Sufiya, as if, they name, even the Sufis themselves, they name themselves with different names. And some of them, they attribute themselves to excellent people. And other than that, however, in reality, if their call is not based upon the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the understanding of the righteous predecessors, then we should know that this is an evil call. and one should not listen to them, and should not take from them, and one should abandon them, and leave them, and not pay attention to them, regardless of what they are, or regardless of the names that they give them to themselves. So we should be aware of them. And we also should be aware of those who water down the religion. Those who they tell you, listen to anyone and benefit from anyone. As long as you can benefit, then benefit from him. This is a false statement. They use as an evidence, they use, barakallahu fikum, the story of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, when the shaitan came to him in the shape of a man and he captured him. He was guarding the zakah money, and Abu Hurairah captured him, and then he told him, should I not teach you something to say, and to the end of the hadith. And they say this is an evidence that Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that he took knowledge from the shaitan. This is what they say. And this is a false statement. This is an evil statement. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he listened to him. He listened to what he said to him, and then he went to ask the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, yes, he told you the truth, although he is a liar. He told you the truth, although he is a liar. So from this, we should understand that Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he took from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and not from the shaitan. Because when it came to him, when he heard the shaitan, and he did not go to him to study with him, for example, or to take from him and learn from him. No, rather, the shaitan came to Abu Hurairah. The shaitan came to Abu Hurairah, and he said to him what he said. And then Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh, when he heard this, he wanted to clarify with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the way of the Ahlul Sunnah, that they take their ilm, their knowledge, their deen from the statements of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the statements of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the understanding of the Salaf, of the righteous predecessors. So beware of those who tell you, listen to anyone, you can benefit from anyone. They tell you, for example, go any book that falls in your hand, read it, benefit from it. They tell you, read the likes of al-Dhilal li Sayyid Qutb. They tell you, read the likes of the books of Hassan al-Banna, Sayyid Qutb, and other than them. We say, beware of this. Beware of this. This is a great deal of trial and tribulation. Wallahi, if one reads them and takes from them, we fear for him that he becomes a Khariji, that he will start revolting against the Muslim rulers and speaking against the Muslim rulers and taking the aqa'id, the false aqa'id, the likes of making accusations against the companions of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and speaking ill of the companions of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because their books are filled with that. Their books are filled with that. So beware of those. Beware of those heads of people of innovation, as well as those who tell you take from anyone and benefit from anyone. Na'am, barakallah fikum. The likes of Muhammad Salih al-Munajjid, and other than him, Salman al-Awda, and other than them, those are, and Abdul Aziz al-Turayfi, and those individuals are individuals who they tell you, read for anyone, study under anyone, read any book, benefit from anyone who speaks. Beware of those individuals, ya akhawat, my sisters, beware of those individuals, and only listen to Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Listen to the scholars. If you can study, if you can read Arabic, if you can understand Arabic, listen and read for the people of knowledge. The likes of Sheikh bin Baz, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, Sheikh al-Albani, Sheikh Muqbil al-Wad'i, Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad, Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan. Those people of knowledge whose call is clear and pure. Sheikh Abdul Razzaq al-Badr, our Sheikh Abdul Rahman al-Maysan, hafidhahullah. And other than them, from the people of knowledge, Sheikh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili. Na'am, barakallah fikum. Of course there are many. We're not going to be able to mention the names of all of the people of knowledge, but those are, alhamdulillah, some of the people of knowledge. And Sheikh Muhammad bin Ramzan, and other than them, barakallah fikum, benefit from them. If you can read Arabic, if you can listen to Arabic, then benefit from those scholars. If not, listen to the people, the students of knowledge who are able to translate the works of the people of knowledge. Now, and beware of the people of innovation, and beware of those who water down the religion and make this and compromise in the religion, barakallahu fikum, because they will misguide the people. They aim to misguide the people. We seek protection in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, we took longer than we should in regards to this question, but I wanted to, he mentioned, al-Sheikh rahimahullah, he mentioned regarding taking from the Hizbiyin, from people of partisanship, whether there are circles of knowledge or lectures or the likes. He said, هَذَا بَلَاءٌ وَفِتْنَةٌ. This is a trial and a tribulation and a test. So, قال ننصح بعدم حضورها. We advise that you do not attend them. نعم. ثم بعد ذلك سئل الشيخ رحمه الله هل يجوز إن شاء الله نؤجل السؤال. We delay the next question until the next class بإذن الله تعالى. ونكتفي بهذا المقدار. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.